Good morning, everyone. My name is Rachel Reggio. I am the president of the Black Medical Association, which is an organization with the mission of recruiting, retaining, and supporting Black students here at the University of Michigan Medical School. I'm so glad you are all here to join us today for this peaceful protest. Though we are unable to see your faces due to the volume of viewers, we would like to kick off this protest by having you flood your social media outlets with the photos you've submitted and the hashtags that we will place in the chat. Before we begin, let us pause for a moment of silence in either prayer or in thought to commemorate the lives of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Tony McDade, Botham Jean, and many more. Donovan, I hand it over to you.
Thank you, Rachel, and thank you everyone for tuning in. My name is Donovan Innes, and I am a first-year medical student here at Michigan. As Rachel said, we want you to flood your social media outlets with the photos you uploaded and the provided hashtags. We will first begin with the call to action. So to start, to our Michigan medicine community.
We call on you. To the instructors, mentors, and administrators, we call on you to stand with us. We call on you to feel our frustration and fear. We call on you to see our truths and tiredness. To those shadowed in clinic, to those we scrub in with, to those who help others when they are lost, we call on you to stand with us. We call on you to feel our pain. We call on you, the educated and the loud, to break the silence, to challenge the system, to change the system.
To our friends, to those we dance and act with on stage, to those we sit across from at happy hour, to those we study with, we call on you to stand with us. We call on you to make your voices heard. We call on you to make our voices heard. We call on you, healers and healers in training, to advocate for a better future. To the leaders, victors, and best, to Michigan, we call on you.
We call on you because once again, our fears and frustrations and truths have come into the purview of society. Our realities and grievances have been put on full, undeniable display. The ravages of COVID-19 on the Black community are a consequence of a deeper racial inequality within our society. The unjust lynchings and brutality towards the Black community are the consequence of relentless institutional oppression from a system that was not built to see us. This, of course, is nothing new. Oppression has long been a part of America's history and is the foundation of the structures and institutes we follow. Your Black colleagues, students, mentees, and loved ones carry the omnipresent fear and mental burden of not being seen as fully human. We walk the campus, always ensuring that our ID badges are in plain sight, to reassure both you and ourselves that we belong. We avoid wearing hoodies and freeze at security checkpoints in fear of being wrongfully accused or questioned. We don our white coats and uniforms, our tight neckties and high heels, no matter the temperature, no matter the pavement, simply to remind our patients and the world that we belong. This is why we call on you, to break the silence and to bring a change. We call on you to stand with us, to finally see us, to finally hear us, and to finally walk with us. Dr. Erica Newman is an associate professor of pediatric surgery, and Dean Gay is the assistant dean for admissions and an associate professor of internal medicine. Thank you both for engaging and reading the poem with me, and I invite you as senior faculty and respected members of our community to share your remarks on the current climate.
Thank you, Donovan. You make me so proud. And thank you, Rachel, and all of the members of the BMA. I appreciate your courage. I appreciate this opportunity. I have 3 major points to make, and they'll be fast. We don't have time. We don't have time. We have to change the paradigm now. We have to become allies and not be passive. We have to educate ourselves on what it means to be racist and what it means to be anti-racist. In my opinion, there is no in between. So if you are with us, you are either racist or anti-racist. And I encourage my colleagues to understand the difference and to join us in eliminating these inequities and injustices that are going on in our society. I made rounds today before this meeting, and it has become more clear more now than ever. Every janitor, every person cleaning the floor was a person of color. Every nurse, every doctor was not. And if we are going to, as a health system, not be a change agent for that, I know we're better than that. And so, Donovan, thank you. Those are the points that I wanted to make. We have to be an ally, we have to educate, and we have to be racist or anti-racist. Thank you.
The thoughts that I have had are extremely personal. Throughout the months of the pandemic, throughout the months and years of all of this inequality, all of this savagery against our communities, I have felt pain, I have felt anger, I felt anguish, I felt dismay. And all I've had to hold on to is my faith and my hope. I see my faith in everyone that I come in contact with, but I receive my hope from my students who I see are constantly striving to make a difference despite of all the things that are put against them. I see the hope in my colleagues who are trying as hard as they can to make a difference. But I realize that these small communities to make a difference are not enough. That it does take all of us of active hearts and passionate spirits and a belief that we must work to force things to be better. And throughout this, make our voices heard. Throughout this, vote. Throughout this, speak out. And I know I count on my students so much to do so much. And they are sitting in a time that has been unimaginable, yet with their extraordinary grace, with their exceptional talent, and with hope, I believe that we will do better. I have to believe we can do better. I cannot address the alternative. We as a society cannot survive the alternative. We must make the change. We must allow the people around us to grow and become better as we become better as a society, because we have no other choice.
Thank you both for sharing your experiences. For the next portion of our protest, we have asked the following speakers to briefly share their sentiments regarding the murder of George Floyd and how they've been affected by racism here in Michigan. They're speaking from individual experiences, and although it can be tempting to assume these voices represent all Black voices, please remember that this is not the case, case, and the best way to know how someone feels is to ask them when appropriate. I want to be clear. None of our speakers are obligated to be here. None of them are here to garner your sympathy or pity by revisiting their traumas and experiences. They are here to tell their stories. We are here to tell our stories because there's this small, bruised thing in our minds called hope. And hope tells us that no matter how many times we speak and share our pain, that maybe this time someone will hear us. Maybe this time someone will listen. Maybe this time someone will be moved to action because we cannot do this alone. We cannot stop the murders and oppression on our own. So, to the audience, all 1,000 of you, if there's one thing you do today, even if it's only for the 30 minutes we are here, I ask that you wholeheartedly listen. Our first speaker will be Shavaz Thomas, a second-year medical student here at Michigan. Shavaz.
Thank you for that, Donovan. So in the days after George Floyd was murdered, I had a lot of emotions. I think the first that I felt was anger. I also felt frustration, but in general, it was a continuation of paranoia, of fear, of vulnerability to be someone of color living in this country, to see that after years upon years of Black people getting killed by police, this has continued. It's something that hasn't just started for me, like with George Floyd dying. I grew up in New York City, so I distinctively remember learning about the Central Park Five. I distinctively remember learning about Sean Bell being killed in 2006 with 50 gunshot bullets. So it just kind of brought it all back to light for me. And I think that it made me feel that my skin is a weapon. You feel as though your skin is a threat and that you can't really escape it because the country sees you as a weapon, regardless of your intentions, regardless of what you're trying to pursue for yourself and for your family and for the greater of humanity in general with our career. There's a consistent feel that you have to soothe other people and make them feel good about your presence in spaces. And that takes a tremendous amount of energy outside of just being a medical student. So frankly, when I get pulled over by police, my first thoughts are, what do I need to do to be safe? What do I need to do to make them feel safe? What do I need to do in terms of my speech, my posture, so that my mother doesn't get called that I was dead? And this is a reality that many people that look like me have to deal with on a consistent basis. So when we think about just turning paces a little bit, my experience with the healthcare system, while I was on my VA rotation, I had a patient that had cirrhosis, and he came in for a TIPS procedure to basically decrease the pressure in his liver. And he needed to stay longer after the procedure because he developed more fluid. And he had to stay longer than he needed to stay. And so his wife came in to kind of calm him down. And when his wife comes in to calm him down to allow him to stay, she says to him, "Yeah, I'm not scared of you," in a very joking fashion. And he turns to me and he says, "You shouldn't be scared of me, you should be scared of him, the tall Black dude. You should be scared of him, the tall Black dude." And in that moment, it just hit me straight on that even while I'm trying to help other people and be of service to others, my identity is being used against me. And these are stories that most of us experience, but we go on a daily basis because we have to. So I think that I would just leave you with saying that Black lives not mattering is not an issue for just Black people. It's an issue for all of us. And if we continue to act like Black people being killed is not a problem, then we won't have any hope, frankly. And it takes people who aren't being killed, frankly, to care about us, to talk in your circles, to talk in your family groups. When you hear things in patient interaction, say something. When you get on a conversation with someone who you think is going through something, bring it up. because we don't always have to, I'm sorry, we just, it's difficult going through this alone. And it's difficult people acting like we're not going through this and that everything is fine. So thank you for the space to be able to say this, guys.
Thank you, Shavaz, for sharing and for your vulnerability. Next, we'll have Stephanie Reyes, M4 here at Michigan Medical School.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about internalizing the devaluation of Black lives. The reason why George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, Eric Garner, Corinne Gaines, Trayvon Martin, and so many more have lost their lives is because their perpetrators didn't think that their lives mattered, that it carried value in some way, that maybe they didn't live fulfilled lives, or maybe their future didn't hold any promise, that maybe they were not kind or thoughtful, or maybe they didn't have families that loved them, honored them, but that rather that they were aggressive or disruptive or unlawful, and that for those reasons their lives or their deaths were somehow justifiable. And so I want to share that repeated acts of violence, of murder, of targeted hate against the Black community leaves a special kind of trauma that you can't shake and that you carry with you in every facet of your life. And for me, I see it especially when I'm in predominantly white spaces. It started in college and now in medical school and working at the hospital. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't question my value here, and I don't question if I'm valued here, if people see me as intelligent enough, as charismatic enough, as witty enough, or special enough, or if I'm seen as equal to my peers, and then also if I see myself as equal. And so I struggle a lot with internalizing the value that I think others place on Black lives. People that don't know me, have never met me, but that I somehow succumb to that rhetoric when I feel vulnerable. And when my existence or presence in a space isn't affirmed. And so I guess what I want to tell everyone is that I think we should all affirm Black lives and to do that courageously and ferociously, but at the same time, we have to affirm that for ourselves and believe that we belong in this space and in any space that we want to be in, and to think that we are witty enough and that we are creative enough and that we are thoughtful enough and that we belong here and that we're as deserving of God's grace as anyone else. And so I guess I want to leave everyone by saying, stand strong in who you are. Be courageous, be unequivocal, be passionate, be thoughtful, but just believe that you belong here and no one can take that value from you.
Thank you, Stephanie, so much. Thank you for your vulnerability and for your words. Next, we'll have Dr. Fitz Tavernier Jr. Fitz is a recent graduate of the University of Michigan Medical School and recently matched into UMich anesthesiology. So congratulations, Fitz, and thank you for being here with us today.
Yes, thank you, Donovan. I appreciate that, and I appreciate everyone who's tuning in at this moment and taking the precious time out of your day to hear our voices and our stories. I guess I just want to share a couple of my own experiences. And my first reaction to George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, as well as the Amy Cooper incidents was that I was not surprised, not in the slightest. As Donovan said earlier, this is nothing new for us. This is something that we've been having to deal with our entire lives. And similar to both Dean Gay and Shavaz, I've had a cycling of emotions. I've had to unplug from social media at one point because it got too emotional just to simply turn on the news or just to actually scroll through any of the timelines. And with that, the first thing that kind of comes to mind is that that could have just as easily been me. Just as easily could have been someone that I loved. And just because I have whatever degrees or education, or then I just became a doctor, that does not make me immune. That could have just as very easily been me. And with that, I reflect on my own experiences of running in with the police in my childhood. I grew up in the west side of the state, Grand Rapids, Michigan, the suburbs, specifically Jenison, predominantly white neighborhood. And I specifically remember in high school when I was pulled over in the car of a group of friends, and I was the only Black kid in the car. And with that, I was the only one pulled out of the car and placed in the back of the police car. They had suspected us of committing a crime, which we were not involved in. And subsequently, the police only called my mother, waking her in the middle of the night, to making sure that she, quote unquote, knew where I was, whereas none of the other 4 friends in the car had just kind of stayed there and did not experience anything of sort. And I remember coming home and my mom saying how scared she was when she woke up in the middle of the night to hear that she was getting a call from the Ottawa County Police Department, and how she said that the first things that went through her mind was that, something happened to my child, because she's constantly aware of us growing up in the white neighborhood and how people perceive me. And that was the first time I really kind of understood what it meant to my parents to constantly have to worry about my well-being, even in instances where my well-being should have never been compromised. I also think about the time in undergrad when I was pulled over, and the first words that came out of the police's mouth, rightfully so for speeding, was not, no greeting, no hello, no do you know why I pulled you over? His first words were, whose car is this? In a very stern manner. And I remember just contemplating, like, why would you try to insinuate that the car I'm driving is stolen? Why couldn't I just been pulled over as a law-abiding citizen who was breaking the law and just been reprimanded and such, and as opposed to reminding me about my race? And with all that, I think about how I consciously always have to think about my race. I think us as Black people, we are consciously always thinking about our race. And as Shavaz said, it's a way to make sure that we are not making other people feel threatened, and we're not doing it for them. We're making sure that our safety is intact. And it comes with the most mundane task, even with shopping at Kroger, and making sure that I make sure going through the self-checkout aisle, that I make sure that all the items that I placed are in plain view, so someone or the store clerk doesn't think that I'm trying to steal something, which I have been accused of before, right here in Ann Arbor. And as a med student, the most stark memory that comes to mind is my second week of my clinical rotations. My very, very first rotation, I was on OB-GYN, and I was accompanying one of my patients to a procedure. And me and my resident were both dressed in scrubs. We both had stethoscopes clearly around our neck, and I had volunteered to push the patient across the hospital because she was my patient, and she needed the wheelchair service. And I remember getting in the room and helping my residents set up the patient for the procedure. She was getting a mass drained in one of her breasts. And before the procedure started, I remember the nurse in the room had kind of stopped and looked at me and said, excuse me, do you mind leaving the room? We're about to start the procedure. And at first, I didn't think anything of it. I was very timid. My first time on the clinical wards, and I thought maybe it might have been, something of. I was the only male in the room too, so I recognized that maybe that I could have been making somebody uncomfortable, and so I was proceeding to go and step out, and then my resident stepped up and said, "No, he's with me. He's a medical student." And I remember the patient saying, "Yeah, Fitz is fine. He can stay. Like, I have no issues with that." And the nurse responded and said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were a transporter." And I remember thinking that here I am in the same exact attire as my resident, who was a white female in scrubs and a stethoscope around my neck. And although she did not mean it, she didn't have any ill intention, she completely overlooked every aspect of what I was wearing, where I was, what I was doing, and went straight to the color of my skin to, quote unquote, insinuate that I'm not capable of being a medical student, and that the only reason I should be in, I'm probably here and accompanying them, is because I'm probably not in the medical profession. And I look back and I thank you for that resident. I'll never forget, who stepped up and caught an incident and defended me, and as well as the patient, who also apologized to me. I think about the other residents who heard about the story and apologized to me, and it didn't really sink in until afterwards. And I was just like, this may be a pretty long year. And I think that clearly defines what Black people have to go through in this country. We are constantly, no matter where we are, what we're doing, we're constantly overlooked. And the first thing that is identifiable about us is the color of our skin, and such negative stereotypes come with that. And the thing about the George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, all of these cases, is that what angers me more is about the countless Black citizens that don't have, in a sad and twisted blessing of their injustice being recorded on camera. For every one of them, there's 10, 15, 20 others who don't have their story recorded and don't have the opportunity to get injustice and have other people riled up. And that's what kind of hurts me more, is because it shows how all this has been a systemic issue. It's something that sometimes I feel like I don't have hope that it's going to change. And in this instance, I feel like I do have a little hope, in that a lot of the protests, sometimes I've even seen Black people being outnumbered by non-Black people. And that's what I think matters at this point, is critical, is that we need the help of everybody to understand that this is bigger than us, and we need your help to change it. And with that, I think of the words of our late President Barack Obama recently said that progress in this country has always been secondary to making the status quo uncomfortable. And so I ask all of our colleagues at Michigan Medicine, when you see, as Shervaz said, when you see things of this that happen around the hospital system, around campus, around your friends, your families, stand up and try to challenge those things and defend those, because we do need people to be allies. And that's the only way I think that progress is going to move forward. And lastly, I just want to say, be very proactive in educating yourself. It's as taxing as things that we have to deal with. A lot of the times it's not really our responsibility to educate yourself. And we can tell you things, but until you learn things and educate yourself about what has been happening and what Black people have to go through on a daily basis, then you will never really understand. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who took the time to listen today. And thank you, Donovan, as well as Rachel, for putting this together. Very proud of you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tavernier. That was powerful, and we just thank you for sharing those words. Next, we will have Dr. Versha Pleasant. She is a fourth-year OBGYN resident here at the University of Michigan.
Can everyone hear me okay? Okay. I'd like to share a piece that I wrote called Black Skin, White Coat. I'm on the highway driving home from work at the hospital, and I'm Black. I'm wondering what could be the first to cause my asphyxiation, COVID-19 or the police. I'm an obstetrician gynecologist who practically never wears her white coat. My day-to-day involves gynecologic surgery, cesarean sections, vaginal deliveries on our labor ward, none of which are at all conducive to maintaining its pristine, crisp, white appearance. It would immediately meet the insult of blood, amniotic fluid, and the like, thereby rendering its upkeep entirely too time-intensive for a resident. However, My white coat still goes with me wherever I go. As I'm driving home that day, I'm thinking of George Floyd. I'm thinking of Breonna Taylor, thinking of Ahmaud Arbery, thinking of Emmett Till, thinking of Trayvon Martin, thinking of Eric Gardner, thinking of my Black husband, thinking of my Black son. I'm enraged, overwhelmed, tired, frustrated, scared, anxious. I glance over at the passenger seat. My white coat sits next to me like a bored commuter, never leaving the car, not having moved very much from its spot for the past 4 years of my training. It hangs not on the back of the seat, but rather in reverse, draped over the front of the seat with my name and degrees visible to whomever may happen to be looking into the driver's seat window and needs some quick reassurance that I am not a threat. Perhaps it will matter when I need it to. Perhaps it will save my life. Or perhaps it will do nothing. Perhaps my permanent driving companion will offer no protection on the day when, for whatever reason, my Black skin becomes too offensive for me to continue to live. I reflected on the images I witnessed on TV as I was awaiting the start of my surgical case earlier that day, as George Floyd's trachea becomes compressed under the knee of a Minnesota police officer. 8 minutes and 46 seconds. I had to turn away because I felt like I was going to throw up. I focused on my own breathing and pondered how long it would take to end my life with a knee on my neck. I also contemplated that if it takes minutes for a literal knee on the neck to end a life, how long would a figurative knee take to have detrimental and observable consequences on one's life? Can a knee on a neck be an opportunity denied, a job passed up, a medical diagnosis overlooked or undertreated? We decided to go another direction, or this is not a good fit for you, or we don't take students from that neighborhood at this school. I'm reminded of the popular COVID-19 phrase, "We are all in this together," which now only feels like smoke and mirrors. We were never in this together. Blacks are dying from COVID-19 and Blacks are dying from racism. There has always been a knee on our necks. It is just that some you can see clearly on TV and others you cannot. I can feel the tears well up in my eyes and I try not to cry in order to see the road clearly. My mind wanders to my Black son. No matter where we go, he would constantly attract people of all ages, races, and backgrounds. "Your son is so handsome. What a precious boy. He is so cute." One day, an older white woman approached him and started grabbing his arms and hands in sheer joy. I remember wondering at what point would she begin seeing my cute, adorable son as intimidating, aggressive, threatening? When will the transition occur when she crosses the street when she sees him approaching? When she pulls her purse closer when he walks by? When she calls the police because he looks suspicious? When will I be the crying mother on TV? I cannot hold it in anymore and the tears fall. My field of vision blurs for a few moments. In the background, my audio playlist blares Tupac Shakur's rendition of the 80s song by Bruce Hornsby and the Ranges. That's just the way it is. Some things will never change. The irony of the lyrics is piercing. I'm overwhelmed with the thought that maybe the song is an ominous prediction that things will never change. I reflect on the duality in which I live. When I'm asked what I do for a living, I'm reluctant to tell strangers that I'm a doctor. The immediate response of white people is usually shock, as I witness their perceptions about me dramatically change in real time, as the expression on their faces immediately soften and they take a proverbial sigh of relief that says, "Okay, we're safe." In reality, what I want to tell them is that my social worth preceded my recitation of the Hippocratic Oath. It began, just like everyone else's, the moment I was born. And yet, my white coat sits with me in the car, my permanent escort. I hate that it's there. I hate what it represents. But I remind myself that my white coat hangs in the passenger seat, not because I need it every day, but because one day I may need it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pleasant. That was beautiful. Now we will have Dr. Sidra Bonner. She is a general surgery resident, PGY2 at the University of Michigan. While Dr. Bonner adjusts the sound, we actually will have Dr. Robinson. She is the former BMA president, also a incoming PGY1 at UNC Chapel Hill. Please, Dr. Robinson.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. It's an honor to be speaking to you all today. I am missing my BMA family these days. So I'd like to talk to you all today about my life and my experience. And I have a couple of thoughts about some very, very tangible things that we can do as an institution to start to address the enormous weight of historical racism that is imbued in our policies, our praxis, and in the work that we do. But first, I think I'll start with my story. My name is Ayana Gloria Robinson DeGaia. As has already been said, I'm starting as an OBGYN resident, and I am very proud to say I'm the former president of BMA. During my time at Michigan Medicine, just prior to transitioning from the preclinical curriculum to the clinical world, my baby sister was shot and nearly killed by police in a town just outside of Seattle, Washington, where I'm from. She was 17 years old at the time. She was shot 4 times in the chest and abdomen by police who were responding to a mental health concern. She was having a panic attack 2 blocks away from our home. And as a result, she ended up in the hospital for 3 weeks with, a chest full of blood, a liver transection, not to mention all of the catastrophe that followed in its wake. I bring this up today to tell you that I'm honored to speak today in reflection of police brutality, but my focus today is on the story of my sister, on the death of Breonna Taylor, who was an EMT and a first responder, to focus ourselves on the reminder that stories like these lay bare the reality that our Black and Brown colleagues are not separate from their communities, that they themselves live in fear and in anger in the ways that have been described by the folks already on this call, that they themselves may be the survivors of the police state themselves, that they or their families may be in constant threat of the police, of ICE, or of other state-sanctioned violence. My aim today is to shed light on how healthcare systems like Michigan Medicine are often unintentionally complicit in state-sanctioned violence due to our inaction in the face of it, due to ages of policy practice and a fundamental structure that was designed to serve and enrich white folk and to disregard people of color, be they patients or staff or learners. And for that reason, how it's our responsibility to proactively change structures and policies so that we can appropriately prevent these episodes or respond to those that could not be prevented. I like to focus on 2 potential areas of that work. The first is we can be involved in creating a team of community health, first responders, and mental health providers that respond to safety and wellness checks so that the police don't have to. There are countless unnecessary preventable deaths every year that result from police responding to a health concern. From a Tatiana Jefferson, a 28-year-old woman who was shot in her own home in Fort Worth because a neighbor had called for a wellness check, to Kenneth Chamberlain, an older man who was shot in White Plains, New York because his medical alert bracelet went off. Those are situations that we are involved in as the healthcare system because we are the responders to things like mental health emergencies. Those are situations that in some states and municipalities would be responded to by a civilian mental health organization or an ambulance full of healthcare providers and EMTs, and in some situations are responded to by police in body armor. And it's not necessary. So we can be involved as a community in helping to change those policies. The second area that I'd like to outline is how we can improve our support for staff and learners who are targeted by racial incidents. That goes from everything from creating a policy, an open policy of defending staff when patients or patient family members are openly hostile towards people of color, when they request a different medical student, they request a different provider, they do or say something that is racialized in order to minimize or even threaten staff members. We can have an open policy about that. It varies dramatically from hospital to hospital, but ours could be improved. We can create a quick and transparent response to racist comments or incidents that involve learners. And it's true that we have a learning environment task force. It's true that we have an anonymous reporting system. But in our work as BMA students and talking with folks about why it is they do or don't report these things, many say it's because they don't believe anything will happen. They've never seen any consequences. They've never seen someone be defended. They've only seen someone's reputation be ruined or someone's evaluation be affected. And whether or not it's true, that's how it's perceived. So until there's open support for learners of color, people won't come forward with these incidents. And finally, we can change the way that we support by whatever means necessary students who face state violence, deportation, or other forms of discrimination by society and particularly by the government during their time as Michigan learners. When my sister was shot and nearly killed by the police, it was incredibly difficult. It had been something that I had been fighting against and working against and protesting against and doing research against all my life. We'd become that family that you see on TV who gets that terrible phone call. My mom and I were all that my sister had, and I did everything that I could to support my family, to get them here safely, to find legal representation and deal with a complicated hospitalization and the terrible post-traumatic effects of such an event. I thought that in the midst of all of that, the very least that would happen is I would be able to rely on my community at Michigan Medicine, that I would be able to come back as a medical student and maintain my professional career. And while I have to shout out to my BMA family for sheltering and protecting me, for being there for me, and while I have to thank individual staff, including Dean Gay, Dean Mangelkar, so many people who were supportive of me through OMSI on an individual level, the structures that are in place within Michigan Medical School and within the institution overall often worsened or failed to assist us in our plight. For example, as a result of having to take a month and a half off in order to be available for the hospitalization, because of the structure of the curriculum, it became necessary for me to take off the rest of clinical year. As a result of the relationship between the medical school and Central Campus, that resulted in $18,000 of my scholarship being revoked, and some uncertainty about when and if I would need to pay that back, having to take out loans, and being responsible to paying that in some way before I would be allowed to come back as a medical student. When I initially took a leave of absence, I was assured that I would receive funding for my ongoing diversity, equity, and inclusion research that I was doing out of the emergency department. And I was offered funding and some income, a welcome source of income, given that I now needed to help support my family. But due to delays and bureaucracy and the challenges of associating funding with this sort of situation, it took more than 6 months. And that funding ended up being reduced to minimum wage and part-time, meaning that I was left without income during a time I most desperately needed it. And as a result of not being a student, technically, while on a leave of absence, many of the types of support that are generally available for students are not available for folks who are on a leave of absence. I came to find out later that many other medical students came to me and said, I had a similar thing happen. I had to take a leave of absence related to something that happened with my family's immigration status. I became very ill and something had to happen. And they also often lacked resources and support, not because of individual, personally mediated or intentional racist action, but because the structures are not designed to support students who are going through something like this. I don't think it should ever happen again, and I'm not the first person to have gone through it. In conclusion, what I would say is that I know that our hearts and minds are with the folks who are going through these challenges. And I feel very, very blessed to have had the experience I had at Michigan. But if Michigan Medicine wants to be known as a diverse organization with one of the most diverse medical schools in the country, it has to be prepared to support the diverse needs of a diverse medical school class, even if that requires moral courage, political dissent, or a huge change in policy as usual. Thank you.
That was amazing, Dr. Robinson Degaya. We really appreciate those words you shared. Now we will actually go back to Dr. Sidra Bonner, once again, the general surgery resident, PGY2, here at the University of Michigan. We will circle back to Dr. Bonner. We're so thankful that you were here and willing to participate with us on this panel. I'm going to hand it back over to Donovan.
Thank you, Rachel. And thank you all for sharing your stories. They were truly powerful and impactful. I've had the honor of introducing our next speaker before as the first Black lecturer 3 months into this year's preclinical curriculum. Now, I again have the opportunity to introduce Dr. Allecia Wilson on a more somber note. Dr. Wilson is an assistant professor of forensic pathology and pediatric pathology, and the director of Autopsy and Forensic Services at Michigan Medicine. Dr. Wilson conducted the private autopsy of George Floyd, concluding that he died by homicide caused by asphyxia. Dr. Wilson, we thank you for joining us today and for your commitment to social justice.
Thank you, Donovan. Thank you, BMA, for this opportunity to share this moment with you. While I can't speak on certain aspects of the autopsy itself, I really wanted to share the reason and motivation to become involved in this case and what I've learned from this experience. When I first watched the video, I was, as everyone else, struck by the inhumane treatment Mr. Floyd experienced and blatant disregard for his life. However, in my training in forensic pathology, I immediately understood the potential mechanisms involved in his death. I even had faith in our medical legal system and knew the steps and the guidelines that needed to be followed. When the preliminary findings were released, I was sure it was a mistake, a misunderstanding. Someone mistook the medical information and released it to the media. But sadly, I learned that was not the case. A subsequent request for a second autopsy, specifically by me, was quite unexpected. But I felt the experiences I have shared over the course of my life, including some of the exact ones that we've heard our medical students talk about, as I too am a graduate of the University of Michigan Medical School. I felt that my life experience, my training, and everything I stood for were prepared for this moment. It has been suggested, it was suggested by some, including my national organization, that second or private autopsies are done by pathologists who have an incentive to arrive at a certain opinion. That implying that second autopsies are selling your opinion for money. And I feel this was all aimed to try to convince us that we didn't see what we saw. Well, I just want to say why I took this case. I took the case because I'm a human being with compassion towards others, because I value life and our freedom, because I have an expertise in a very unique field of medicine that focuses on how disease and injury cause death. Because it is my duty to utilize this experience to ensure justice is served, especially for those who are not heard in our society. I routinely say that I'm the deceased final voice, that I get to tell the judge, the jury, and our society their final story. I took the case to ensure that George Floyd's story is accurately told, that his voice and the voices of many others are heard. This experience and aftermath has revealed the stark reality of racism in our society, where, and as I've told and actually received an apology from the organization, that a Black man has died at the hands of white officers. And out of all the people in our field, that I had the courage to say what everyone else was thinking, but could not say. And instead of focusing on his life, they focused to try to insult the integrity of the person who had the courage to say the right thing. But this experience has also showed me the intense compassion, support, respect for equality that are felt by so many. So many have reached out to offer their expertise, their support, encouragement for our cause. And it has been said many times, that we do want, appreciate, and need the support of everyone to make a difference, to ensure that Black lives matter, and that everyone in our society understands and respects the value of our life. Thank you for the opportunity to speak here.
We cannot thank you enough, Dr. Wilson, for joining us today, for your courage, and for taking on the private autopsy case of George Floyd. You have been a catalyzing agent of change, and we are proud to have you call Michigan your home. Next, we will have Daniel Jean, a current first-year medical student here at Michigan and chair of the newly formed Action Committee.
Thank you, Donovan. After the series of tragedies that occurred last week, it became clear to me and my peers that there's a need here at Michigan, a need for action. Listening to these stories today, to the stories of my friends, of my family, of people who look like me, I started to get angry. And then I started to get tired of being angry and of feeling powerless. At the medical school, I met a group of passionate and driven students who, like me, were tired and were frustrated. And together we identified this need for purposeful and efficacious action. So we started the Action Committee. Our goal is to collect and organize the variety of great ideas from everyone involved in the Michigan medicine system on how we can begin calling out and dismantling racism in our own backyard. We will use our voices to demand change, to demand significant change, and we hope you'll join us. Thank you for showing your support here at our visual today. Please keep an eye out for the way in which BMA will begin to mobilize and effect change in the next few weeks.
Thank you so much, Danielle, for letting everyone know that we are making strides towards actionable items and making some change here at the University of Michigan. We are now at the end of our protest, and we are so glad that you were all able to join us today. We received an overwhelming amount of support from you all, and for that we say thank you. Over 1,000 photo submissions and over 1,400 attendees, so thank you. For our Michigan medicine family, there will be a virtual town hall meeting this afternoon at 2 p.m. to further this discussion. BMA and the Office of Health, Equity, and Inclusion will be starting a 6-part virtual series on race starting this Monday, June 8th from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Please don't forget to vote in the upcoming elections and to continue to submit your photos. I leave you with this question. After participating in this protest, What commitment can you make in your personal and professional life to work towards dismantling systemic racism and inequality? We would like for you all to answer this question using the same form you used to submit your photos. Also in this link, we have included some anti-racism resources. Let's keep the flame ignited and try our best to maintain some sliver of hope during these trying times. And lastly, I will leave you with these words from Martin Luther King Jr. There comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular. But he must take it because his conscience tells him it is right. An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. Thank you. And we will end with a short slideshow of the pictures you all submitted. Thank you very much.
Spirit is revisiting us, true and living in us. Resistance is us. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. When it go down, we woman and man up. They say stay down, and we stand up. Shots be on the ground, the camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop, and we ran up. One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be strong. We will be strong. Oh, glory, glory, oh, glory, glory. Now the war is not over. Victory isn't won. We'll fight on to the finish. And when it's all done, we'll cry glory. Oh, glory. Oh, we'll cry glory. Oh, glory. Selma is now for every man, woman, and child. Even Jesus got his crown in front of a crowd. They march with the torch, we gon' run with it now. Never look back, we done gone hundreds of miles. From dark roads, heroes, to become a hero. Facing the League of Justice, his power was the people. Enemy is lethal, a king became regal. Saw the face of Jim Crow under a bald ego. The biggest weapon is to stay peaceful. We sing, our music is the cuts that we bleed through. Somewhere in the dream we had an epiphany. Now we right the wrongs in history. No one can win a war individually. It takes the wisdom of the elders and young people's energy. Welcome to the story we call victory. The coming of the Lord, my eyes have seen the glory. One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be strong. We will be strong. glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Oh, glory, glory, glory. Oh, glory, glory. Hands to the heavens, no man, no weapon formed against, yes, glory is destined. Everyday women and men become legends. Sins that go against our skin become blessings. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is juxtapositioning us. Justice for all just ain't specific enough. One son died, his spirit is revisiting us. True and living in us. Resistance is us. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. When it go down, we woman and man up. They say stay down, and we stand up. Shots be on the ground, the camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop, and we ran up. One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Oh, glory, oh, glory, glory. Now the war is not over. Victory isn't won. But we'll fight on to the finish. Then when it's all done, we'll cry glory, oh, glory, oh, we'll cry glory, oh, glory, oh. Selma is now for every man, woman, and child. Even Jesus got his crown in front of a crowd. They march with the torch, we gon' run with it now. Never look back, we done gone hundreds of miles. From dark roads, heroes, to become a hero. Facing the League of Justice, his power was the people. Enemy is lethal, a king became regal. Saw the face of Jim Crow under a raw ego. The biggest weapon is to stay peaceful. We sing, our music is the cuts that we bleed through. Somewhere in the dream we had an epiphany. Now we right the wrongs in history. No one can win a war individually. It takes the wisdom of the elders and young people's energy. Welcome to the story we call victory. The coming of the Lord. My eyes have seen the glory. One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Oh, glory, glory, glory. Oh, glory, glory. Hands to the the heavens. No man, no weapon formed against, yes, glory is destined. Everyday women and men become legends. Sins that go against our skin become blessings. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is juxtaposition in us. Justice for all just ain't specific enough. One son died, his spirit is revisiting us. True and living in us. Resistance is us. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. When it go down, we woman and man up. They say stay down, and we stand up.
Thank you all for joining. That concludes the video. Stay informed, stay in tune to what's going on, and look out for what's coming up in the upcoming weeks, please. Thank you all again.
Thank you, everyone.